And we are live. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, how are you doing, Mike?
I am doing well. I am doing well.
Oh,
Uh,
you're behind a big Pikachu.
well, I'm not behind a big Pikachu
A
today. I'm
big
actually,
something.
I'm, I
You're
am,
the big.
I am Dynamaxed, is what I am right now. If you'll just take a look over at my screen, I've got the nice little clouds that go over your head. I've got that storm that you only have four
hmm
deaths for some reason to keep your Pokemon existing within it. And I wanted to kind of bring up at the start of the hour here that we're kind of in an opportune time or kind of a unique position where we
hmm
exist both before and on Christmas,
Yes.
which is amazing. Happy
That
Merry
means
Christmas to everybody
we
out
can
there.
wish you guys Merry Christmas,
Exactly.
even though we're in two realities at once.
Exactly. For those of you who are listening to us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Pokésports Podcast, you're listening to us on Sunday. But for those of you who are watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, it's Christmas. It's Christmas, baby.
And we still get to spend it with our families while
Isn't
you
that
guys
nice?
listen to us,
That
not
is
being
quite
with your
nice.
families. Why aren't you guys with your family?
Maybe they are. Hey, maybe they listen to Pokesports with their family.
Oh, that's true.
You know, this is a healthy pastime for everybody. You
hmm
know, sit down with your family by the fire, enjoy yourselves some competitive Pokemon, and like really get up in each other's faces about it. Like really make sure that your teams are up to snuff, that you can say, hey, remember back when we were in third and fifth grade, elder brother John, and you beat me with your Dragonite? Well, now look at this. Dragonite isn't even in the game, son.
Game Freak deleted Dragonite.
Now
It's
it's all
gone.
about Dragapult.
Oh,
And I'm about to take you down with it, John.
John. Hey, Granny Ann.
Granny
1v1
Ann.
me.
Granny Ann and her. I'm trying to think of another one. Doug Trio. Damn it, Doug Trio's in the game. What's another Pokemon?
You think it wouldn't be that hard to think of a
Right?
Pokemon that isn't in the game?
Half of them are gone. Muck. Granny and her Muck coming at you.
Oh, rest in peace,
Rest
Alolan
in
Muck. That
peace,
thing was so
Alolan
good.
Muck. It was really nice. I liked it a lot. So Merry Christmas.
hmm
Welcome one and all to Pokesports. I'm your host Mike, and I'm your singles expert for today, and hopefully for the rest of the podcast. I'm your Smogon expert.
Smogon has some big changes this week.
Oh yes,
We
sir.
came right on time.
Yes, sir. And of course, I'm here with Kevin xRazeOvation, who is going to be our VGC expert. Kevin, how you doing this
Hello.
week?
I play with two Pokemon on the field.
I like that a lot, actually. Hi, I'm Kevin. I play with two Pokemon on the field. Oh,
I'm
that's
good.
beautiful.
My
That's
rating
beautiful.
isn't good, but I'm fantastic.
Listen. We're
I'm
in
using Poltegeist.
we're in a very experimental time right now. So you might win some, you might lose a lot, especially when you're trying things out. If you were to just commit to one team, one, the game
No.
would be very boring, and two, you'd have a super high rating. And that's what some people want to do. Some people, they just want to play the same Trick Room team, and they want to get themselves up with that. Some people like using Dragapult and Excadrill and all of the high
Arcanine.
meta stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just to get themselves up. But you, sir, are a
I use a
trailblazer.
Poltegeist.
You use a Poltegeist.
Mike, on paper is fantastic. Execution, I gotta work on it. But I still think it's doable. I didn't give up on it yet.
Do you think that's it? Do you think it's just that you need to learn how to use it better?
I'm poorly executing it. There are situations where I'm baton passing when I should just be stored powering
Okay.
because I guess I'm underestimating the amount of damage it actually does.
I
But
see.
I was able to OHKO like an NDD today with a
Okay.
psychic move, which is kind of ridiculous because resisted to psychic.
Well, you're having success
Yeah, it's.
somewhat.
I mean, I could be playing better.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Couldn't we all?
It's
Couldn't we
not
all?
Poltegeist's fault. All right, guys.
Well, let's get a little bit closer into what we're doing here today. So
Mm-hmm.
before we get into our news, before we get into what we're talking about, I just want to say that with the end of the year kind of coming up super quick, actually,
Wait, is this our last episode this year?
this is going to be our last released episode this year. If we do
Ooh.
one next week, then we're going to have it on Sunday. But when it comes out, it's going to be on January 1st.
Ooh. Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year. Next time. But starting right in the new year, we're going to be having some newer initiatives for Pokésports. None of which I'm going to tell you about today, but you will definitely be hearing all about that next week.
It's an expansion.
It's going to be an expansion, yes. So this podcast isn't going anywhere. If anything, we are adding more stuff. We're just kind of ironing out the deets.
And we want to... Oh, sorry. I was going to say, we also want to take this time to say thank you to those of you that like have been following us, because you guys, we're getting like really positive feedback on this, especially on Spotify. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you're a champion.
Yeah, we really.
So
like
it's giving us the opportunity to branch out. Like we had no prior ideas until we started seeing results. So all thanks to you guys, and I hope you guys are excited for what's to come.
For sure. So let's get on in. Let's get rolling. So listen, there were a lot of pieces of news that came out in the past week. First of all, of course, it's Christmas coming up, so we've got that. But I want to get into last week's Galar Weekly, because at the very end we kind of were talking pretty live about what was going on, because it was still happening. One of the people in the finals was somebody who was using a big Pikachu, Gigantamax Pikachu, and that person actually won. A person won with a team of Chandelure, Togetic, Big Pikachu, Tyranitar, and Indeedee, and Excadrill.
It's okay. It brought Pikachu. He's forgiven.
I hate him. And you know what? For me, it was interesting to see the Pikachu on the winning team. But what was even more interesting was the week that came after it, because Pikalytics this week has Pikachu at like 0.16%, like not even 1% of teams are using this Pikachu. And I'm guessing that 0.16 is that one person who's using that Pikachu.
I don't even know if it's legal on BattleSpot yet, to be
Oh,
honest.
is that right?
Yeah, it might just be Gigantamaxes are not still allowed, because I know the season ends the 31st. So if you guys haven't gotten to Masters yet, get to Masters before the 31st so you can get your 600 BP. But yeah, I think the season swaps over, and then that's when VGC will start being on BattleSpot doubles. So that one person that brought Pikachu just didn't get the memo, probably.
Right. Well, I mean, hey, if it was allowed, then it was allowed, I guess. And then... Yeah, I mean, speaking of Galar Weekly, like we had the second Galar Weekly happened this early weekend. That happened on Saturday of this week. Winner was at Menino Jardin on Twitter. He was using a Togetic, Rhyperior, Hydreigon, Jellicent, Arcanine, and a Ferrothorn. So
that's an interesting team.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty... Like, none of those are actual Trick Room users, right?
I think Jellicent is.
Oh,
Jellicent's the only one. So if he's going to go for Trick Room... I mean, I'm assuming just by looking at his team, like, lead was Jellicent Togekiss. It's probably a weakness policy Togekiss. No, because it's a weakness policy Rhyperior. So yeah, it's probably just Jellicent Togekiss, Follow Me, Trick Room. One of them dies, switching Rhyperior, win game.
I mean, basically. And what I found interesting about this team this week was that apart from Togetic, with the Galar Weeklies, just kind of looking at them in a vacuum, each of these Pokemon, each of the other 5, haven't been in a winning team in the Galar Weeklies yet.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Each one of these are unique to the Galar Weekly champions.
That blows me away, because they're all such strong Pokemon.
I know.
And
I would have expected...
5? That's
exactly.
crazy.
5. We've had 5 of these. I would have expected like Ferrothorn or Arcanine to be in the champions at least
Absolutely.
once. Because those have been popular since the get-go. Like everybody knew that Ferrothorn was going to be Ferrothorn. Because Ferrothorn was Ferrothorn last season too.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I'm playing Battlespot right now, but I'm looking at these Mons and I'm like, these are all just so common.
Right.
So I would have expected them to win by now. But yeah, I guess technically shifting meta right there.
You know?
I like it.
It's good.
It's good.
It's
yes.
good. So yeah, and again, like all of these, they're pretty high up there on sites like Picolytics as well. And speaking of Picolytics, Sylveon has been seeing a little bit of a surge this week in VGC, getting up to like 18% on Picolytics.
Not bad.
And I wanted to take that opportunity to just kind of let everybody know, this is just a little PSA for you, that Sylveon does have access to Mystical Fire now. Which, you know, gives it coverage against Pokemon like Excadrills, that
Ferrothorns, etc.
exactly.
Yeah. Steel types in
general. That continue to run rampant. And speaking of running rampant, Dragapult and Excadrill continue to dominate the VGC teams.
Some things just won't go away. I mean, both of these mons are just so versatile.
I want them to get out of there so badly.
Dragapult's not going anywhere, Mike. I could tell you that right now. This Pokemon can be a physical attacker, it can be a special attacker, it can be a support Pokemon.
Yeah.
It could set up screens. Like it's got it all. Like that's the problem. It's got it all.
I know, and I want it out so badly, but I have no idea how it's going to get out. It's just too fast. It does too much. Oh well.
And it's just really sad because I think this goes back all the way to episode 1, guys. Like one of the questions that we got was, what are you most excited for with Sword and Shield? This is before Sword and Shield came out, and the question was like, what are you most excited for? And I was saying I'm excited for Salamence and Garchomp not being in the game, because then other dragons will get attention.
Right.
And then they introduced Dragapult to us, so I didn't even get what I wanted.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because you don't see any other dragons except maybe Duraludon every once in a while.
Well, what's funny is you basically have your shield and your sword. Like, these are the true sword and shield legendaries right here. Dragapult's the shield and Excadrill's the sword. For sure. Each of them, again, dominating VGC teams. Right now we're seeing Dragapult at 39% and Excadrill at 34%. So
wow. Wait, Dragapult's still above. Wow. That's surprising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I guess
because of the versatility.
Yeah.
Right, you stick it on anything. People are building against specifically Excadrill, so people are taking Excadrill out of their teams. But you know, there's rarely a case where you need to take out Dragapult.
Hey, no Excadrill on the winner this week, so that's good.
That's true. That is very true. Speaking of usage, Delibird is taking over raid dens.
Hey!
December 20th to the 25th. Delibird now has a 60% appearance rate in all dens, so if you're looking for a truly competitive Pokemon, make sure you pick up a Delibird. If you're curious about Delibird's usage in the game, because we've been very big on analytics today, Picolytics has it at what's that number? Let me check. It's 0% usage for VGC and for singles. So
guys, we're gonna change that here. Don't worry.
We're changing that next week.
Next week will be 100% usage.
Oh my god! We should actually do that this week.
We'll raise that usage and see if it changes next week.
See what happens. I plan to get to top 5,000 with Delibird, so just saying. If you use a Delibird, make sure to. I should say, actually, let me preface this. We want to see Delibird being used like really badly, and that's kind of why we're saying this, is just we want to see a Delibird for Christmas. So if you do use a Delibird or find yourself using a Delibird, make sure to take a screen cap of it and send it over to us at pokesportspodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter at pokesportspod, because we want to see your Delibird usage.
And if you guys don't know how to use a Delibird, we got a set.
Don't worry, we got you. We got you.
It. Don't worry. We'll walk you right through it.
Exactly. Last piece of news, Dynamax is out of Smogon singles.
Rip.
Yeah. It has been deemed too broken, and they don't need it. You know, it's massive, huge news for the game, because they've kind of implied with this that the main mechanic of the new generation, that being Dynamax, Gigantamax, it just isn't good for the single battle scene. And I've tended to agree with that for a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole reason why I started by saying that I am your Smogon expert is because I've always been into Smogon, but kind of the second that I learned exactly about what Dynamax was and what it was going to be in this game, I was just like, no, okay, we're over to VGC. VGC is the only thing for me right now. But now it's gone, so I'm back. I love singles, but with Dynamax, it makes it a little insane.
Now this is like big news, right? Because they didn't remove Z moves, they didn't remove Megas. Like they actually didn't remove much of the gimmicks from the previous generations. No, exactly. The only thing they removed was like what, Mega Rayquaza? Like they literally just gave it its own tier because it was that crazy. But yeah, they just removed Dynamax.
Well, that's and the Sleep thing,
Clause
right?
Also is removed.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of things that, like, I understand because from what I've seen and from people that I've talked to, like they all agree that, and myself included, it's not okay. It's like, it's really not okay. Because
I mean, you look at VGC and it's okay. Like it works there. Like you have things that you can kind of do to deal with Dynamax. It's still really tough. And I would go as far as to say is like Dynamax is the game. The game is Dynamax now. Like your whole strategy is trying to figure out what Pokemon you're going to Dynamax or what Pokemon you're going to have to deal with that is Dynamaxed.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And if a Pokemon doesn't Dynamax, or every game's going to have one, right?
Well, it's going to exist in every game. To, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the problem with Dynamax that single sees specifically is how versatile it is. You can literally like bring a player down to his last Pokemon, and then as a last ditch effort, he could just Dynamax and win the game if he really wanted to.
Yeah.
And then just sweep the rest of the team.
Yeah. No, for sure. And to kind of segue into what we're talking about next, I want to let you guys know that Dynamax, it's here to stay, but the best way that you can combat against it, or the best way that you can use it, is to learn about it. And so that's what we're all here to do today. We're here to learn about Dynamax. Let's talk about that. Dynamax. We can probably assume that our audience is somewhat familiar with Dynamax. So we'll talk about the basics, the specifics that people might not know. So Kevin, you want to talk about what Dynamax is?
Your Pokemon get big.
Yeah, basically.
Your Pokemon get big. Their HP gets doubled at full health. Like, on top of that, their moves also get changed depending on their typing. Like, all water moves will become, max water move, which is like base 130 attack. All fire moves will become max fire. I don't know the name, so I'm calling them max fire.
Right.
I know Ghost is max phantasm.
Well, there you go.
That's about
I can expand on that a little bit. So every Pokemon has a Dynamax level that you increase with your Dynamax candies. It goes from 50% at level 0 to 100% at level 10. So you give them 10 Dynamax candies and suddenly your Pokemon's going from 200 HP to 300 HP, all the way from that to 200 HP to 400 HP, which is nuts for Pokemon like Snorlax that has such a high base HP to begin with. That's, I mean, Chansey's gone from the game, but you can imagine, why
1,200 something. Yeah.
You can kind of start to get a little bit of a better idea as to why certain Pokemon aren't in this game when you look at what it is that Dynamax does. So like we said, all the moves are changed to max moves. It increases its power based on the attack it was before maxing. So typically you'll have like a 120 to 140 power base move, except for things like Poison Sting. I looked this up. Poison Sting goes from like I want to say 30 or something like that base power to like 75. So you can have a max poison move. I can't remember what the poison moves are either, but
I think because the highest the poison move can get is like 95. And that's the same thing for fighting moves because they
the highest that a poison move can get is 95?
Yeah, poison move or a fighting move. Because poison increases special attack, fighting increases attack. So their base power is just lower, just to
No, no,
balance
no,
it
no,
out, I
no, no, no.
guess.
That was just for poison sting.
No,
Like I'm
poison sting
talking
was
about like
75.
the very like, well, because poison sting is like the first move that like a Weedle can get, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But I think the maximum range is 95 for max
really?
poison.
I
Yeah,
have to
because
look this up because that's nuts to me. What? Yeah, wow. Cross poison 85,
there's
gunshot
situations to where
95. Whoa, I didn't know that.
yeah, because they raise your special attack or your attack depending on if it's poison or fighting by one. So
Hmm.
in order to balance that, then that's
They
what
made the
happens. So
moves weak. I
yeah,
see.
so technically a close combat will do more damage than the max knuckle. The first hit at least.
Oh, I understand. But then that second hit
Hmm.
is going to be,
Yeah, it's
nasty.
gonna
That
be
third
more
hit's going to be
damage. Yeah.
destructive. Okay,
Hmm.
I see. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of max moves, they stay on whatever physical or special move you have. So if you're using something like close combat, it's going to stay physical. But if
Yeah.
you use, and I'm trying to think of a
Focus blast.
special focus blast, thank you. If you change a focus blast to a max knuckle, then that's going to be special. Yeah.
Which is
However,
tricky because they
yeah,
look the same.
exactly, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people tend to think that, oh, well, whatever. I'll just put the highest power type move that I can, and it'll be whatever I want it to be. No, that's not the case. It is the same attack type that it was going into it. Yeah. Actually, another thing to note about that is for Max Knuckle and Max. Oh, I have it in front of me, so I should be able to tell you this. Max Ooze specifically. Ooze. For those two specifically, if you are using things like Focus Blast and you're changing it to Max Knuckle, just note that the attack increase that you're going to get is still an attack increase, like a physical attack increase.
Yeah,
So
sadly.
you don't want to be necessarily using a Max Knuckle if it gives you no benefit. Actually, specifically Max Knuckle, yeah, like if
Yeah,
you're
it'll do
using a
nothing
Focus
for you.
Blast, it's going to do nothing for you.
Same
Okay.
thing for like Drapion, which is probably why Drapion's not seen. There's no point in Dynamaxing it because you get special attack with your Max Ooze cross poison.
True. True. True.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I just
The more
learned
you
something
know.
with that. Yeah.
Yes. I had a quote from today's stream, Mike. It was the more you learn, the more you know.
Great. I was around for that.
Oh
I
yeah.
wasn't impressed.
I get really good quotes going,
No,
man.
that was a good quote. So again, with max moves, attacks they break through protect. Dynamax Pokemon can't be flinched, and attacks can't be redirected. So things like follow me and does after you affect it? After you probably doesn't.
After
But
you affect what? Max moves?
yeah.
I think so.
Oh, well, there you go.
I didn't know that follow me doesn't affect it.
That's right.
That's new.
Yeah, it can't be
Ooh.
redirected. Yeah, it's kind
Wait,
of.
what?
Oh wait, follow me works on max. Whatever. Anyway,
I could have done that the whole time? Oh wait, no, it
nope.
doesn't.
Follow me
All
works
right.
on max moves. Nope.
All
Confirmed.
right.
Confirmed.
Okay.
But there was one thing that I wanted to say about that, and it was actually something that you learned on your stream, which was what was that you learned?
You can ally switch a Dynamax mon?
Yes, you
I
can.
didn't know that. I just figured since Dynamax is behind, it's kind of in its own place. But no, you'll literally see a Pokemon go from this side to this side if you ally switch, but Dynamax remains. It's it's silly. But
It's
okay.
silly. Yeah,
A
instruct
good
doesn't work
strategy
on
with that
instruct
is
doesn't
like
work on max moves.
instruct. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
really? Oh, that makes sense. Because that would be extra stupid.
They do keep their abilities, though. They do keep their held items, except for things like, well, they get to keep choice items like choice band, choice scarf, but it's like temporarily disabled. Only to the point where it's disabled from the point that you start Dynamax to when you end Dynamax. So if you use a Dracovish Vicious Rend on your first hit and then Dynamax it the next turn, then you can use whatever item that you want. But then whatever move, that you want. But once Dynamax ends, then you're still locked to Vicious Rend. You don't get to choose a new attack to be locked to. This is also the same with Darmanitan and Gorilla Tactics. Gorilla Tactics is disabled.
Because that would just be too much damage.
That would be too much.
I think
damage.
Is it just that all stat boosting items or abilities will just get nullified because they can only do up to 140 base power?
So are you talking about things like black sunglasses?
Yeah. Or I don't know if those work.
Well, no, I think Life Orb
works. Yeah.
So I think those.
So it's just those specific items. So just Choice Scarf, etc.
Yeah, good question.
Won't work. Yeah. Okay.
Dynamax in singles as of this week is bye-bye, is
bye-bye.
Is
see you next gen.
it's just gone. By the way, Kevin, I should mention, you remember the other week I told you that I wanted to get a button.
Yes.
The P button.
Oh, did you get it?
I have the P button.
Oh my god.
And
I can't hear it, but
I know you can't hear it, but I want, you know what? I should actually figure out if that's something that I can do, if I can have sounds from my desktop play. But anyway, that's inside baseball. Either way, I do have.
Should we have a countdown?
E key.
We should have a countdown.
Have a countdown?
We can't count at the same time because we won't line up, but I'll let you count.
Yeah. So yeah, Smogon, Dynamax is bye-bye. It is gone. It was bad. It should not have been there in the first place, and now it's buried. And I think that's for the best. Yeah,
absolutely. But anyway, if you guys really want to use Dynamax, you can still go on Battle Spot Singles.
Exactly. Battle Spot Singles works, but for VGC, it's still there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it works again. It works a little better because you can always like team up on the Pokemon or deal with it in other ways, or this, that, or the other. It just is what it is, you know.
Yeah, with 4 Pokemon on the field, you're giving more options to Pokemon. You're giving more options to deal with the threat. Like Mike said, you could double into it. You also have options for like Clear Smog. The problem with singles is that if you don't have that option on the field already, you have to switch in, and by the time you switch in, it's too late. Mm-hmm. You just already took an attack, and then you just, okay, I'm 2-shot.
Oops, fainted.
Well, guess this is how it happens. Nice. Or you just force your current Pokemon to get killed off so that you can bring in the Clear Smogger, and then you have a Clear Smogger at 50% HP, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess this one's done too. Yeah. Next
Clear
turn. It's problematic.
HP. There we go. You can figure out what I just did. Anyway, HP.
Oh, you just wrote it down.
All right. So that's Dynamax in a nutshell. It's, I don't know, like, it's good.
You seem conflicted, Mike.
I am. I don't know how to feel about Dynamax. I like it. I think that it does too much. And I've said this multiple times before. I think that to have an HP boost and an attack boost and a lack of being able to flinch, I think those are 3 things that, like, if you take out,
we did.
If you take out any one of those 3 things, it becomes a lot easier to manage, obviously. But like, those are 3 very specific things that would completely change the way that people use Dynamax.
Mm-hmm.
I think that having double the HP is fine if you don't have such an increase in attack power, or to have all of those attacks like do so much.
Stat changes,
the stat changes or whatever else they do. Like I said, as just always stat changes, either increases or decreases.
Or they put up terrains and stuff.
Exactly, putting up terrains. Like, the way that I like to kind of compare it is, if you think of moves like Hyper Beam, Giga Impact always used to be like historically really powerful moves, but they were powerful because they had a drawback. Like, you were able to use Hyper Beam, you were able to use Giga Impact because you wouldn't be able to move the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the only reason that not every single person used Hyper Beam is one, because of the typing, but two, well, actually, no, I should include that, is one, because of the typing, and two, because of the drawbacks. Now you're creating a situation where you're making all of your moves basically hyper beam, plus they're doing an extra effect, plus they have no cooldown.
That's actually a really good point that I didn't like think about previously, Mike. Usually when moves get to like that 120 to 140 to 150 to 200 range, there's always a drawback.
There's a reason not to use them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Draco Meteor, -2 next turn. Explosion, you die.
Explosion is explosion. Fissure automatically KOs the Pokemon, but you have a 30% chance for it to hit.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Blows my mind that they decided to make 3 turns worth of, stab hyper beam. Like, you had to do so much to have a good stab hyper beam or a stab.
It's not even 3 turns worth though. It's even worse than 3 turns worth, because you get a stat boost or you get a terrain setup. So the second hit is always more than the first hit, and the third hit is always more than the second hit.
Yep.
So if you just consistently go for the same move 3 times, you're just dishing harder and harder hyper beams at your opponents.
Well, exactly. And you think of things like
with no drawback.
Max Flare, or I should actually just be looking at this. Max Flare, Max Geyser, Max Overgrowth, Max Lightning, Max Hailstorm, Max Mindstorm, Max Starfall. Each of those things, they create an environmental change, right? Like you've got your rain and your sun and your grassy, electric, psychic terrains, your fairy terrain, your misty terrains. They all, they increase the power of your next 2 moves by so much, and then thereafter.
By a life orb.
Hey?
It's a free life orb.
It's a free life orb. There you go.
0 drawback.
Especially in VGC.
And they have secondary effects. Yeah.
Exactly.
It gets silly.
It gets very silly. But again, I think my major gripe with Dynamax is specifically the moves. I could deal with double the HP. That would make enough sense to me for me to be like, yeah, okay, sure. But no, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan, and I guess the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, oh, okay, wait, I actually don't really like Dynamax as it is. But
yeah, the more I think about it, honestly, it's like it's worse than Z moves, right? Because Z moves did more damage. They were a free Oko button.
But what was the drawback to Z moves?
Exactly.
You needed to give the Pokemon a held item.
But the thing with Dynamax is that Dynamax is long-term. It becomes a long-term problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's situations, like, if the Pokemon's setting up defenses, like, you can't get rid of it. It's there for, like, the next 5 or 6 turns. And you're just like, oh, okay. I guess you're just a Pokemon that I can't get rid of.
Right.
And, you can't get rid of it. You can't win.
Well, and the scary thing, too, is that for VGC... it's not just a stat boost or a stat reduction for just the Pokemon using it or the Pokemon being used on. It hits the allies too. But I'm not here to complain about Dynamax as much as it sounds. What I am here to do is to tell you how to deal with it and how to enjoy the game for what it is, and that is, I think, what we're going to be going into when we come back from the break. We're going to be getting a little bit into our Pokemon spotlights for today. We're going to answer some questions, and then we're going to head off to enjoy Christmas. But for now, we will be right back. And we are back. Kevin, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm alive.
Cool. Guys, we want to help you. That's all that we're here to do. We want to save your souls from getting Dynamax to death and using Dynamax improperly. And I think we can do that by proceeding to not talk about Dynamax almost at all.
Well, funny you say that, because there's something I have to say about Dynamax with this Pokemon that we're about to do.
Okay, that's good. So what I was going to say is that our Pokemon Spotlight today is twofold. You get a single Pokemon Spotlight, but then we're going to go into a very festive surprise Pokemon Spotlight. Our first Pokemon Spotlight is on Ditto. Ditto is currently number 1 in singles usage on Picolytics. And why is that? It's because Ditto is everything. Ditto is my cell phone. Ditto is my water bottle. Ditto is a Lucario, but also Ditto is a Charizard.
Now, what I was going to say about Dynamax is,
Please.
I think the reason this is because if you have a Dynamax that's just setting up his stat boosts, then Peekaboo, here's a Ditto. Ditto takes the stat boosts. That's like the whole thing. I mean, that at least that's what Ditto's used for in like doubles. It's like if you see something that's starting to set up, you could be like, oh, hey, it's me. Those are my stats now. And I look just like you. I have all the same moves you have, et cetera, et cetera.
Interesting.
And so with Ditto being, what'd you say, 40-something usage, like in singles, that's really high.
Really high.
People are saying that if Ditto's that high of a usage, then that metagame is unhealthy. Because, I mean, this is a usage at the time when Dynamax was still allowed.
Yes.
So that usage is probably going to go down. But all in all, like, Ditto's still a very strong Pokemon. Especially if you have, like, a last slot and you just don't know what to put there, Ditto's a very viable option.
It's still going to show as very high on sites like Picolytics that use specifically Battle Stadium, because Battle Stadium is likely not going to impose any of these kind of Dynamax bans. But it was a very interesting point that you brought up, that Ditto can come in not at the time of Dynamax, but even after the time of Dynamax. So you send the Ditto out after the opposing team has already done all their setups and Dragon Dances and max, Knuckles and max oozes. You have it turn into that Pokemon, then you can Dynamax that and have it become
the problem.
The problem, exactly. Have it become
and
the
then
problem.
further boost your own
and
stats.
further develop the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dittos, they usually run specifically Choice Scarf. And that is wholly to completely outspeed, outdo them at their own game. Typically, you don't need more than one move when you're sending out a Ditto onto something that is fully set up anyway. You can just kind of run phase with what it is. People typically actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you about this. Typically, people use the Imposter ability with the EVs of 248 HP, 8 attack, and 252 defense. Why the 8 attack?
I think that's just to have an odd number of HP, because usually for singles you want to have an odd number for Stealth Rocks, right? That's like a big deal. You'll be able to live on 1 HP if you just literally sit there and switch in all the time. That's like why you want to have an odd number of HPs.
Interesting. That's an interesting concept. Yeah, because four more to max out those EVs would put you at an even number. Interesting.
Yeah.
Impish Nature. Typically the only moves that they can run, Transform, which it doesn't even use. Like it doesn't even touch. Yeah, exactly. And then potential replacement moves are just absolutely nothing. I mean, have you met Ditto? You can't. Can you actually run a Ditto with 0 moves at all?
No, I think the game forces you to choose one. Anyway, my Ditto stays in the daycare. He doesn't leave. He's under lock and key.
That's terrifying.
He's got a job to do.
He's got a job. All right.
My Ditto's a hardworking civilian. He's got a job to do. That was just the fake Pokemon of the week. It's time for the real Pokemon of the week now, Mike.
Right. But hold on, before that, I want to know, do people actually use Ditto on VGC?
I haven't seen it. I've seen it once. That's a lie. I've seen it once, and I have like 400 battles. And it actually worked very well because I belly drummed with my Snorlax, and then he sent in Ditto. And I was pretty sad about it.
Interesting. Do you think that was just a situation where like somebody, was using a singles team in doubles?
No, I think he wanted to have a Ditto there. I think it was intentional. Like I said, Ditto's a good Pokemon. Like I constantly find myself with this problem. Like I'll have 6 Pokemon, but I only bring 5 of them ever, and I'll just have one that just never gets used.
Right.
Ditto's a good Pokemon to stick in a slot like that
Okay.
because if you encounter a scenario where you're like, oh, this team is heavy setup, bring Ditto, it'll be fine.
Well, there you go. All right, let's get to what you really want to talk about. Merry Christmas, everybody! Your
Hello.
second Pokemon Pokesports spotlight is Delibird.
That photo is fantastic.
Delibirds typically run Focus Sash with the ability Insomnia or Vital Spirit because it doesn't matter. They do the exact same thing.
And one's a hidden ability.
Listen.
I love this Pokemon.
I looked at those notes when you wrote them, and I said, "Wait a second, that can't be right. Insomnia and Vital Spirit are the exact same thing." No, and then I looked that up. Turns out they're the exact same, but Vital Spirit has an out of battle effect. So
you need Vital Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get Pokemon that are higher level than the Delibird, you run the Delibird that has Vital Spirit. So,
oh my god, this Pokemon has a Death Wish. It's like I challenge anybody stronger than me.
Delibirds typically run 4 HP, 252 special attack, Y, 252 speed, with a timid nature. Its moves are typically Fake Out, Destiny Bond, Helping Hand, and Icy Wind in VGC because it can't do much else. It's its basic premise is to flinch a little bit and take something down with it and help someone else out. You know,
or slow Pokemon. Yeah,
or slow them down. Exactly. Its potential replacement moves are really not worth discussing.
It gets present.
It does get present. But
the spirit of Christmas.
I very much unironically do want to see people use Delibird.
We believe in you guys.
Yeah.
With what you've learned with this podcast so far, or with what you've tried to like not learn, we think that you can make it happen.
Listen.
Absolutely.
Listen. You have 3 turns if you Dynamax your Delibird to make it work. I say, you know what? Forget Fake Out. Give me a second here. Let me look at Delibird.
What does it get?
I want to know what it gets.
Does it get much?
It truly does not get much. Oh my god. By leveling up.
Let's hear it.
Wow. At level 1, I'm going to go through all of these. At level 1, it gets Present. At level 25, it gets Drill Peck.
It takes 25 levels to get another move.
Yes.
Christ.
And that's it.
There it is.
That's all it gets.
Well,
dude, you can give it Ice Punch. So that's something. Icy Wind. Perfect. You know what? Let's use it on Battle Spot singles. Why not? Let's see. We're using a special Delibird, right? So we could use Blizzard, of course. We can use Future Sight. Oh, there's something.
We'll use Blizzard with Hustle to just make sure we never hit the Blizzard.
That's it. Oh yeah, that's true. It does get Hustle as well.
Yeah, but why would you ever?
Why would you ever?
Yeah.
He's trying his best.
He's trying his darndest. Like,
would you want to build
the strongest opponents?
I mean, hey, it's only a 10 attack difference between attack and special attack.
Hey, you can go either one.
You can go attack.
I'm just saying for that set, you'd probably go.
For that set, you would, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you do decide to go physical, then 1, you get Present. 2, you get Steel Wing. You can use Bounce.
That's good Dynamax.
Yeah, honestly. Why not? Max Steel Strike?
Yeah.
Yo, you get Gunk Shot.
Wasn't Delibird used? Delibird was used in Galar Weekly this week, wasn't it?
Of course it was.
I don't know the team, but there was a team with it.
No, of course. You have to.
Win.
You got to use it for the memes.
But if they can do it, you guys can do it.
Exactly. I believe in you. I believe in me. I'm going to try it.
Do it, Mike.
I will.
What are you going to name it?
I'm going to. What should I name it? I don't know. What should I name it?
Santa Claus, but spelled claws like
CLAWS?
Yes, because it's a bird.
Mm-hmm.
Birds have claws.
Do they?
Oh, they're talons.
Talons.
Damn it.
Santa Talons, but spell talons TAU. Lons. Tollins.
Now, Mike, do we think that this Pokemon
Do we think that this Pokemon
Delibird is good?
Do we think that it's good?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, define good. Because, I mean, yes.
You're the Smogon expert. What tier does this Pokemon belong in? Because right now I think only OU and UU are done. So technically he's in UU.
Correct.
Where does it belong?
I think we're in an interesting time where, we can. I don't know. I don't think PU is really going to be very fleshed out just because of the lack of Pokemon in the decks. But if there does end up being a PU early on, then it is definitely going to be there. But until then, it has a healthy spot in OU being bad and being something that you send out if you're trying to lose rating to play against people who are less skillful than you.
But you know what? It'll make them laugh. And that's
Yes.
all. That's what we're all here to do, is make people smile.
Yes.
So there you go.
And just so you know,
Merry Christmas.
if you turn a present into a Dynamax move, it becomes...
Max Strike?
Does it? Or does it become Max Protect?
Oh.
That's something that I need to know right now.
No one knows because no one's tried it.
It becomes Max Strike. It becomes 100 attack, base power, Max Strike.
There you go.
Use it.
So
you need
good.
to use it.
Return's not in the game. You don't have a choice.
What is it the present actually does again? Damages with... Oh, wow. It it has 4 probabilities. It has a 20% chance to heal you for a quarter. Heal your target for a quarter.
For a quarter?
Yeah.
Christ. That's a free citrus berry.
Yeah. It has a 40% chance of being 40 base power, so that's the highest probability. It has a 30% chance to hit you with 80 base power. And it has a 10% chance to hit you for 120.
For 120.
So, I mean, present can be pretty strong, let me tell you.
10% of the time.
10% of the time. Correct.
Almost double amount of the time you'll hit a 120 move, you'll be giving your opponent free citrus berry.
Listen, I mean, if we had...
Delibird's good.
If we had enough Christmases with Delibird being kind of the only festive Pokemon that anybody would promote, then maybe, just maybe, we would get a light ball situation where the Nintendo company and Game Freak decided to give us a special held item that could make presentable.
Give it a 50% chance to Oko.
Ooh.
That's the fun game. Give 50% chance to Oko, and then 50% chance to Oko yourself.
See, but here's the thing. If they gave Delibird like a useless evolution just for the sake of letting it use a Violite.
Yeah.
And then they gave present, say, a 3 to 5% chance to immediately KO the Pokemon. Would it be used more? Would people be using present?
It would technically be banned by Smogon, right? Because you can't use Oko moves in Smogon.
Smogon's not taking it anywhere.
It would literally be Ubers. It would go to Uber.
Delibird for Ubers 2021, I'm telling you.
Ubers. Oh, God.
Wow. So
is there a Thanksgiving Pokemon? Yeah, like Delibird's the Christmas Pokemon. What would you consider Thanksgiving?
Who's a turkey Pokemon?
Unpheasant. It's a pheasant.
Do we get Unpheasant in this game? No.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, and it gets Brave Bird for the first time ever.
Why has nobody been looking at that?
Because the stats are pathetic.
Garbage. Okay. Got it. Makes sense. So that is, I think we're running up to we're charging toward the end of this podcast here. I just needed to toss in an extra P.
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 I can't hear it, but I'm glad it's happening.
It's
P.
so happening.
Oh, P for podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's the PCast.
It's PK Sports.
PK Sports. Gross. I wanted to, first of all, again, say Merry Christmas to all y'all out there. So Merry Peasmas.
P.
Yeah. I hope you got all the presents that Delabird could give you and all the good stuff. Kevin, what are you excited for in 2020?
This, believe it or not, I'm excited for Pokésports. Because like I said, you guys don't know. But we got plans, and I'm liking those plans. I think those plans can go places. Plans. Sorry, I'm from Jersey. Plans. Coffee. Sausage. I say it all. Mike, say sorry.
I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. All right. Yeah, I'm excited for Pokésports. I think we got a good thing here, Mike. We got a good thing on the table, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. If you guys are watching this in 2019, y'all are OGs.
It's true. It's true.
What about you, Mike? Answer the same question.
I forgot what it was. I am excited for in the new year. I'm excited for a lot of things, but definitely Pokemon is a big part of it. I think that the game is going in a relatively positive direction. I think not just with VGC, but with singles. I think now that they've kind of figured out by the end of the year their format and what they're going to use, it's just kind of become a limited pool with which to deal with, and so I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see. I'm also starting to get interested in the trading card game, the TCG. I think that they have always been running significantly stronger than the video game. And I think that there is a lot of merit to learning that. So that's where I'm going to stand on that one. But
I got a quick question.
Tell me.
There's still technically no Ubers, right? That I know of, other than the 3 legendaries. What Pokemon do you think is going to make its way to Ubers eventually?
Well, there is an Ubers tier currently.
But I think it's just the 3 legendaries in it right now.
Right, exactly. Like at this point, it's just like what Pokemon can you pair with these 3 obviously overpowered Pokemon to make them good. Right now we're seeing, and this is kind of off the top of my head here, but we're seeing obviously Ditto, Excadrill is a part of this tier as well.
Do you think it's Uber's bad?
Was that?
Do you think Excadrill is like Uber's bad? Like it'll get sent to Ubers because it's so good?
I think I would agree with that. I think that Excadrill has no use being in OU because it's going to be there in almost every team because it's one of the strongest like steel types that you can run, unfortunately.
And the rapid spin is relevant too.
Exactly. Rapid spin is still actually rapid spin is one of the bigger moves needed in Smogon singles because hazard setup is massive. Still.
Hello, Mandibuzz. Exactly. I mean, Mandibuzz gets rid of it, but yeah.
No, I love Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is my favorite. I can't wait to use it. Mandy.
Oh my god, Mike, tell the people what we called your Ferrothorn.
Iron Barbara. Iron Barbara was it has a very close place in my heart.
Oh, I love it.
I cannot wait to be using Iron Barbara's Iron Barbs.
All right.
But yeah, so that's where we are. Anyway, Kevin, where can people find you?
xRazeOvation at Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, etc.
For me, you can find me at StillJustMike and at Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I'm trying to think about anywhere else. TikTok? No, I'm not on TikTok yet. I'm too old for that for now until Twitch catches up.
We have to wait till it gets the Facebook treatment.
Exactly. Yeah, Facebook right now is meant for 40, 50, 60-year-olds. We just need TikTok to go up like just a couple of years and then we'll be there.
Still just Boomer.
Still just Boomer. You can follow Pokésports at Pokésports Podcast on Instagram or at Pokésports Podcast on Twitch, where we record every Sunday night at 9 p.m. EST, including the week before Christmas Eve and the week before New Year's. And I don't know why I said Christmas Eve instead of Christmas, but that one specifically.
Christmas Eve is the important one.
I mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Follow us on Spotify if you're listening to us on Twitch, or if you're watching us on YouTube. It really helps us out to see us there. And if you see us anywhere else that you get your podcasts, make sure you toss us a follow or a review or a thumbs up or any kind of hearts that those systems do to help show people that you like the podcast or you like the service. We will be back on December 29th live for the final episode of Pokésports for 2019, which will be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to that one. We're going to get even bigger than we did this week.
Some would say gigantic.
Some would say gigantic. Today we got big. Next time we're getting big.
P. All right.
We will see you next time.
Thank you guys for watching / listening.
Bye.
Bye.